Hey, we have a new series for you here on our UGAsports.com YouTube page. We're the Film Don't Lie guys, Brent Rollins, Dayne Young from UGAsports.com. If you see our work during the season with Film Don't Lie, we try to look at the games from a different angle. Brent comes at it from a data standpoint with a lot of the pro football focus work that he's done, and he understands the system of how players are graded. My eye comes from talking to different coaches in the reporting I've done, some of the video work as well. And so we think it really collaborates well together. And plus, we're friends outside of this. We were just talking North Oconee football just before the show started. So, Brent, happy to be starting this new series with you. Let's kind of explain to people what this is. So, based on the PFF numbers, what is this countdown?
Yeah, this is looking just at overall grade and moving up. Obviously, we want to count down sort of to the highest graded returning players, and folks can for the most part know who some of those guys are going to be. But as we go through this list, we kind of hit a snap count cutoff, and obviously the key is it's not like a ranking for who we think is the best player on the team or who's going to be the biggest contributor. It's just looking at it more from a talent perspective. Guys who have played at and we look at the grades. 70 kind of is that starter to above average starter level as you start getting into the mid to upper 70s. So you're looking at guys who played well, and you've got some that just missed the cut. I think I'm going to try to have a piece this weekend on the webpage of guys who just missed the cut, like Robert Beal just missed the cut, or somebody like Aaron Smith just missed the cut because he just played 21. He played 20 snaps, so it's not significant enough snaps to consider. So the key here, though, is that when as you see on the screen, it says number 23 is Sedrick Van Pran. That means there are 23 guys that are returning that played significant snaps a season ago or maybe 2 seasons ago that are going to be there this year for the Bulldogs. The cupboard is not bare in any way. And last year when we did the series, it was 17.
Yeah. So
just think how talented that team was. So this year it's 23.
Off the top of your head, do you remember who was number 1 last year? Because we've done this for 2 years now.
Adam Anderson, I think.
Adam Anderson was number 1, and I want to say Malik Herring the year before.
Yeah, the year before it was Malik Herring. That's correct.
Okay. So, again, this is not what we think our particular ranking of Georgia's most talented players.
This is draft related. This
is saying what the PFF numbers were last year. If you were a 70 or above, and then you have to have a minimum snap count to get there. A couple of those we'll fudge on because we think the guys will play a big role. What we're saying is you can't play 4 snaps, graded very well on those, and then qualify for what we're doing here. So now that we've set the table, let's talk about Sedrick Van Pran, center for Georgia, who I think is a key piece. And frankly, I'm a bit surprised that he's as low on this list as he is. And so we're going to kind of get into that a little bit. We want to look back at their recruitment as we do this series as well. Sedrick Van Pran, a center from NOLA, one of my favorite places in the world, Warren Easton Senior High School. He was a center there. It was a really big recruiting get for Georgia to snag him from LSU territory. One interesting thing that I noticed on here, Brent, was that the 2 primary recruiters for Sedrick Van Pran, not on the team. Matt Luke stepped aside this year, and Cortez Hankton now at LSU. And so he's had to kind of find new relationships, obviously with Stacey Searles as position coach, but other guys on the team embrace him as well. I've been told he's a team leader, one of the smartest guys you can find.
Yeah, and when you think about centers, oftentimes you think about that's the smartest guy out there because of all that goes into playing that position. And what we're going to see as much within the film here with him is how he evolved. And really, when you think about his grade is really in two parts. There's the first part of the season where he was definitely learning big time struggles against like Clemson early in the first game of the season, blocking Brian Bresee in the middle, things like that, and then just gradually got better and better and really thrived toward the end of the season.
Let's also pull up his Georgia Dogs profile here because, frankly, I did not do my preparation in making sure that we could do our film study the way that we wanted to. So I'll have to pull that up as well. So Sedrick Van Pran, 6'4", 310. Overall, as a center, I think you have to be pleased with what you've seen on film. Why do you think that he's number 23 on this list? I know the film's going to show some of this, but just from anecdotal standpoint of what you remember seeing last year, what can Van Pran improve on? And then what is he really good at?
I think it's the run blocking part that's where he really struggled because, and oftentimes when you look at center and center's grades, the run blocking part plays way more into it because obviously at the center position, in pass blocking, you have more often than not you have help or you are the helper for the other guys along the offensive line. So the pass block grade, which is actually phenomenal, and we're going to kind of give some numbers later when we talk about that, but especially in the early part of the season. When you look at the first 8 games of the season up through the Florida game, I think his overall run block grade was right around 59. The last 7 games of the season, I think it was around 74. So completely flipped the switch as we got later on in the season. Competition a little bit different there, but still yet, when you think about, the playoff game, championship game, SEC championship game, that he played extremely well in.
He did play well in that. You're going to see the screen jump a little bit here while I work around. Tell me that you see the whole screen, please.
Yep. Good to go.
All right. And
against the Gators.
Here we go. Do you see a circle around our center?
Yes, we have that guy.
Man, and we're rocking and rolling here. We're like we've done this before.
I feel like I need to go like Vince Vaughn, like we're back. We're back, like in Wedding Crashers.
I have to ask that because when I go full screen here, I can't see Brent anymore. So this is all audio cues from this point. You mentioned this game against Florida. Let's talk about what we're going to see here.
And this is really and what we're going to do is we're going to highlight just a few plays, 3 or 4 plays with him and look at some good things and then kind of a not so good thing. But this play specifically is teaching tape between him and then Morgan Erickson at right guard from how do you double team and chip up to the backer and just Cook falling there and getting the touchdown. But the key here to remember is one, his footwork. And I think that's what you see with Van Pran. You saw the athleticism early. It was just, hey, once we clear up the mental part of it, once we just kind of get a little more experience, that the athleticism was going to take over because he's a very good athlete. And the ability to move, turn, he obviously engages. Then gets, by the way, number 9, Gervin Dexter, big-time player returning for Florida, really good interior defensive lineman.
I would say he's got to be among their top 5 returnees.
Oh, yes, if not one of the top 2 or 3 for them. Yeah, so, handled him well, got him turned, knows, like, the biggest thing with linemen when you think about, all right, what are you doing? It's teaching them and them knowing where the ball is going. And all right, now I need to get my head, my butt sort of in the place of where the ball is going so the defender can't get there. And he does a phenomenal job here with that.
I love the body bend that you see here from Sedrick Van Pran because for some centers after they snap, especially in shotgun, which is most often now, they tend to get vertical very quickly and then they kind of have to reorient. Look how he kind of stays at this angle here, keeps his shoulders low and drives with his hips. I mean, it's beautiful what he can do.
Yeah, very good bend, very good hips. And you think about that, we obviously the last time we talked, we were talking draft type stuff and doing these things and looking at individual players from a draft perspective. He comes out and has a big time year and dominates. He will definitely be on NFL scouts' radars.
We've seen Georgia centers not only go after 3 years, but graduate too. I don't know what his grade status is, frankly. I haven't seen transcripts or anything. I can just tell you he's of the academic caliber that may be in his wheelhouse as well.
Yep.
Here we go. Tennessee.
Athlete. Like movement, the movement skills, the ability to use him as a puller as well. And this is one where he enjoyed it just as much as probably coaches and everybody else did. This is hey, I'm a lineman and I dream of making this block, pulling on the backer and just absolutely decleating him.
This was a team that did not pull as frequently as it has in years past, but it can.
And that's going to be key this year as well. His ability, and then I think they're going to, with what they play on the interior this year as well within the offensive line. Broderick Jones, we know, can move really well. Warren McClendon can move a little bit. I think you're going to see a lot more movement from especially the interior offensive line. But I love that he's like, all right. I mean, I think I remember we looked at this play a little bit after the Tennessee game, and he got up and he yelled in the wrong guy. Like he's hooting and hollering, hey, I just knocked you out, but he actually knocked the other guy.
Yeah, 33 didn't get what he deserved. It was someone else that got that mouthful.
But for me, like one of the big things with Van Pran, and like I said, you saw it early, the athleticism. And in terms of scouting and in terms of coaching, in terms of anything, there's one phrase to me that will live forever. And obviously it's at varying degrees once you step up in levels. But athletes get better. Guys who just move well and, their bodies and all the things that you think from an athletic standpoint, they just get better. And when you combine that with his upstairs, that's what he just did. He got better, and the Tennessee game was his second highest graded game of the season.
You look at it now, too, with him, he's going to be one of the more experienced offensive linemen on the team. And there are some. I mean, Warren McClendon has all the experience in the world, too. But I'm just saying, experienced center, experienced quarterback typically leads to an offense that makes fewer mistakes.
Yes. And is in a good position and in the right position. Not 8, 9 times out of 10.
Against Georgia Tech.
And this is where we see the strength. Obviously, Tech's defensive line is not the greatest thing ever. But you just see him here take his left arm and be like, all right, you right there, engage, you get out of here. A little bit of help from left guard, but still for the most part, this is, all right, you defensive lineman, get out of here, get on the floor. And then I'm going to sit on you a little more, little double pancakeage.
I mean, it kind of looks like some of the high school tape I see from like Amarius Mims and stuff, in
yes,
4A Georgia.
Yes,
and that's not to be discredited to Georgia Tech, but I mean, this is not what Georgia played most of the year.
And one of the things you love to see when you look at linemen and how they move is when you watch him here, even after he throws him on the ground, watch his feet. Chop, 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 chop. Really, yep. Yeah, just very small steps. That's how linemen move, and that's how they should move, especially at that level. And that's what you want to see is very active feet. Now, we talked about the pass block, and he actually, the 77.3 pass block grade was 5th highest among centers in the SEC, 16th highest in the Power 5. And if we look at returning centers, guys who are returning to their teams this year, it's 4th highest in the Power 5. So from a pass block perspective, now the thing though is that the way Georgia runs their offense with the heavy play action, heavy screen game, heavy RPOs, those three, and not really just, it's not Mississippi State where we just drop back and throw the ball every time. Because of the lack of true pass sets, sometimes that inflates Georgia's pass block grades a little bit.
Yeah.
But, and we see kind of a mishap here, even though the completion was made. But overall, very solid job from him from a pass block perspective. But when he did get in trouble, and when most offensive linemen get in trouble, it's what they do with their head. And right here, head and balance, gets out in front, head gets down a little bit, and then he's beat.
And a play like this is one reason why I like how PFF does things sometimes. I don't always agree with it, and it's, some of it, there's some subjective pieces to it, and I think that's natural. However, this is a play that was successful for Georgia because Stetson Bennett and Brock Bowers. It was not successful because of Sedrick Van Pran. And so
100%.
To look at it at a very isolated level, you say this play worked out, but it wasn't because of all 11 guys.
Exactly. And the fact that you've said that, it just kind of warms my heart a little bit, because that's in essence what the grading does, is it looks every single player on every play. And, Stetson got the ball out quick. Bowers, by the way, this is also the same exact play that he scored the touchdown on later, going the other way, the big long touchdown. So it's just the different side of the field. But I'm isolating individual players.
A play like this helps Bowers' PFF grade tremendously because he bailed the team out.
Yes, and made a play, made a guy miss, that kind of thing. And it's also Stetson.
Yeah.
Yep. Same thing for Stetson. Positively graded for him. Ball out quick, ball accurate. That was the key. But, with Van Pran, like we said, the biggest thing for him is got better, consistently got better throughout the season, peaked towards the end of the season, and now you look at him as one of the leaders on your team coming into the season.
You look at him as a leader on the team. You look at him as, I would say, someone that has solidified his starting spot at center, and that's on an offensive line that probably has maybe 2 spots that seem up for grabs just a little bit. But I will say this. If an injury bug hits, and Sedrick Van Pran was pretty remarkably healthy last season, if he were to go down, Georgia has some options at center behind him. And let's remember how he got the job to begin with.
Warren Erickson got hurt.
Warren Erickson got hurt. And then also Tate Ratledge got hurt, which they thought the best way to get the best 5 on the field was to move Erickson over. Like, we did not go into the national championship season with Sedrick Van Pran as the starting center. I think we all thought that Sedrick Van Pran would eventually become the starting center, but it happened way sooner than we thought. He kept the job. He's going to be it for the season as long as he remains healthy.
Yep.
He's a really good player, and Georgia is very, very fortunate to have him.
Yep, 100%.
Hey, we're down to the first one. This is going to be a series that we pump out here over the next few weeks into the offseason and the summer here. Next up, you'll have to see who is number 22 on the list of top returning Bulldogs. For Brent Rollins, I'm Dayne Young. Make sure you're subscribed here to our YouTube channel. We are now the most popular Georgia Bulldogs YouTube channel on the internet. We're very proud of that. We're going to continue to run up the score a little bit.
Yeah, so let's keep going up. What's the Bitcoin thing, to the moon?
Oh no, we're not doing cryptocurrency now. That's going the other way these days.
No, but still, it's a nice little hashtaggy thing.
Stonks. Yeah, we can do that. Hey, Brent, thanks for doing this. We'll be around for the next one. Thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you're subscribed, and we will see you next time.